Hello, everybody. It's time for some thoughts about thankful thinking. And I'll start with a quote today. You don't have to control your thoughts. You just have to stop letting them control you. And that's a quote from Dan Millman. He's an author. Um, I picked this quote and I'm talking about thinking because today is Monday, and a couple times a month on Mondays, we usually have Fresh Hope, our support group for those of us with a mental health diagnosis and loved ones. And so Gary and I, most times we lead that together, and we have from one person showing up to sometimes five or six. It just depends on the week, and it's very important to watch what we're thinking. Our thoughts can really influence how we're feeling, and in turn, those feelings influence how we're acting and the things that we do. And so I want you to think about that today. What are your thoughts doing to you? Like the quote says, you don't have to let them, you have to stop letting them control you. You can't really control your thoughts. It's like, I think there's a quote about you can't stop a bird from landing on your head, but you can stop it from building a nest or something like that. We know that thoughts will come into our heads, and we might not know where that thought came from, and we know that it's a negative thought, and we're like, whoa, it's kind of a scary thought, but we don't have to keep thinking that thought. We can reject thoughts that are dangerous or thoughts that are lies. We can look at God's word and know God's word very well, so that when lies come into our heads, we can recognize that, turn those thoughts around, and try to get into better ways of thinking. And so I think that is part of thankful thinking. Our brains, I think, tend to go toward the negative, and we look for the danger in things, and we tend to look for the negative. But we can, with training, with practice, we can look for the positive instead. We can choose to think hopefully about a situation instead of just collapsing in despair about it. So I am going to try to do that with different things happening in my life. I hope that you will do that with your life too, whatever circumstances you find yourself in. Try to look for the positive, try to look for the hope in those situations. Keep talking to God about it. Talk to someone else if you need help getting through a terribly hard situation. And I'm going to read Romans 12, verse 2 from the NIV for the verse for today. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So the world has all sorts of ways that it thinks about situations and life, and we can't conform to that. We can't just think how the rest of the world thinks. As Christians, if you believe and you have Jesus in your heart and he is the Lord of your life, we need to really look at what we're thinking and reject the lies, reject the negative, and as much as possible, choose to think the hopeful, helpful thoughts. So that's my thankful thinking pep talk for today. I hope that you can recognize those negative thoughts and turn them around. So I'll be back tomorrow with another quote and some more thoughts. And I just thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.